What makes a villain transcend fiction and become a cultural icon? In the history of storytelling, few characters have achieved what the Joker has, a villain so compelling that he's often more fascinating than the hero he fights. Today, we're going to explore why the Clown Prince of Crime has captivated audiences for over 80 years, and why he might be the perfect villain for any era. Most characters become weaker when their backstory is unclear or contradictory. The Joker does the opposite. He becomes stronger. Unlike other villains who need a clear motivation to be compelling, the Joker thrives on uncertainty. His famous line, "If I'm going to have a past, I prefer it to be multiple choice," isn't just clever writing, it's the key to understanding his entire character. Think about it, we know the origin stories of almost every major comic book character. Spider-Man got bit by a radioactive spider. Batman's parents were murdered in Crime Alley. Superman was sent from a dying planet. But the Joker? He remains a mystery, and that mystery is his power. The Joker works so brilliantly because he's the perfect opposite of Batman in every conceivable way. Batman represents order. The Joker embodies chaos. Batman is driven by the trauma of his past. The Joker treats trauma as a joke. Batman plans everything meticulously. The Joker embraces random chance. Batman refuses to kill. The Joker treats murder as entertainment. Even their visual designs tell this story. Batman shrouds himself in darkness and shadows, while the Joker parades around in bright purple and green. Batman protects society. The Joker wants to prove society isn't worth protecting. The most fascinating thing about the Joker isn't just that he has multiple origin stories, it's how each origin reveals something profound about both the character and Batman himself. Let's dive deep into the three most significant versions of his beginning. First, we have what many consider the definitive origin from The Killing Joke. Here, the Joker starts as a struggling comedian with a pregnant wife. Desperate to provide for his family, he agrees to help criminals rob the chemical plant where he once worked. The plan goes wrong. His wife dies in an accident the same day, and during the robbery, he encounters Batman. In his panic to escape, he falls into a vat of chemicals that bleaches his skin white, turns his hair green, and drives him insane. This origin is brilliant because it suggests that the Joker is what happens when the average person has, as he puts it, one bad day. It's a dark mirror of Batman's origin. Both men lost everything in a single day, but while Batman turned his trauma into a mission to protect others, the Joker turned his into a mission to prove that everyone is just as crazy as he is. But then we have the second major origin, the criminal mastermind story. In this version, first introduced in Detective Comics number 168, and later expanded in modern storylines like Batman Zero Year, the Joker was already leading the Red Hood gang before his transformation. He was a calculating, brilliant criminal who essentially created himself. The chemical bath didn't drive him insane. It simply washed away his pretense of sanity. This version suggests something even more terrifying, that the Joker's madness was always there, waiting to be unleashed. The chemicals didn't create the monster, they just gave it a face. This origin makes him more frightening because it implies some people are just evil, waiting for their moment to show their true colors. The third major origin comes from Batman, Three Jokers, which suggests something unprecedented, that there isn't just one Joker, but three distinct individuals who have all played the role: the criminal, the clown, and the comedian. Each represents a different aspect of the character we've seen over the years. The criminal represents the original Golden Age Joker, calculating, cruel, and precise. The clown embodies the more theatrical, prankster version from the Silver Age. The comedian is the modern, nihilistic philosopher who wants to prove points about society's madness. What makes this origin so brilliant is how it explains the character's seemingly impossible feats and contradictory personality traits over the years. How can the Joker be a meticulous planner and a complete chaos agent? How can he be both a theatrical prankster and a brutal mass murderer? Simple, he's not one person, but three, each representing a different aspect of chaos. But here's the real kicker. In the end, it may not matter which origin is true. As the Joker himself says in The Killing Joke, "Sometimes I remember it one way, sometimes another. If I'm going to have a past, I prefer it to be multiple choice." The very uncertainty of his origin becomes his greatest weapon. After all, how do you fight someone when you don't even know who they really are? Let's dive into three stories that completely transformed how we understand the Joker, each adding a crucial layer to his character that influences how he's written even today. First, let's talk about The Killing Joke. Released in 1988, this story didn't just give us a possible origin for the Joker. It revealed his entire philosophy. The plot is deceptively simple. The Joker tries to prove that anyone can become like him after one bad day. To prove his point, he targets Commissioner Gordon, shooting his daughter Barbara through the spine and subjecting Gordon to psychological torture. But here's what makes this story so revolutionary. It's not really about the violence. It's about the Joker's argument that sanity is a fragile illusion. He tells Batman, all it takes is one bad day to reduce the sanest man alive to lunacy. This isn't just a throwaway line, it's his entire worldview. The Joker believes his transformation wasn't unique. He thinks everyone is one tragedy away from becoming him. He sees himself not as an aberration, but as the only honest man in a world of people pretending to be sane. The story story's brilliance lies in how it tests this theory. Despite everything the Joker does to Gordon, paralyzing his daughter, showing him photos of her suffering, subjecting him to psychological torture, Gordon maintains his sanity. He tells Batman to bring in the Joker by the book, proving that some people can face unimaginable horror without breaking. The Joker's philosophy is proven wrong, yet the question lingers, how many people are really as strong as Jim Gordon? Then we have a death in the family, also from 1988, which crossed a line no one thought possible. The Joker actually killed Robin. He beat Jason Todd, the second Robin, with a crowbar and left him to die in an explosion. This wasn't just another supervillain plot, it was deeply personal. The Joker didn't kill Jason because of some grand scheme. He did it because he could, because he knew it would hurt Batman in a way no physical wound ever could. This story changed everything about the Batman-Joker dynamic. Before this, their conflict was almost like a game. After this, it became a blood feud. Every time Batman faces the Joker after this, readers feel the weight of Jason's death. It proved the Joker could create lasting consequences in a genre where everything usually returns to normal by the next issue. It also showed that the Joker understood something crucial. To truly hurt Batman, you don't target him physically, you target his family. Finally, we have The Dark Knight Returns, which gave us perhaps the most disturbing interpretation of the Batman-Joker relationship. In this story, the Joker has been catatonic in Arkham Asylum for years after Batman's retirement. The moment Batman returns to action, the Joker snaps back to life. This isn't coincidence, it's causation. The story suggests that the Joker literally has no purpose without Batman. Their final confrontation in this story is framed almost like a twisted romance. The Joker refers to Batman as darling, treats their fight like a date, and ultimately dies with a smile, having finally gotten Batman to break his one rule, or so he believes. This story popularized the idea that the Joker and Batman are two sides of the same coin, that they complete each other in some fundamental way. As the Joker says in a later story, "I don't hate you because I'm crazy. I'm crazy because I hate you." These three stories collectively transformed the Joker from a theatrical criminal into something far more complex, a philosophical opponent, a personal enemy, and a dark reflection of Batman himself. Every major Joker story since has built on the foundation these three stories established. What makes the Joker's psychology so fascinating isn't just his madness, it's the method within that madness. Unlike villains who have clear, understandable motivations like Lex Luthor's quest for power or Two-Face's obsession with duality, the Joker's psychology exists in a realm beyond conventional understanding. Let's start with what makes him truly unique, his diagnosis, or rather, the impossibility of one. In Arkham Asylum, a serious house on serious Earth, doctors suggest the Joker suffers from a unique condition they call super-sanity. This isn't just another term for insanity. Instead, it suggests the Joker has evolved a new type of consciousness perfectly adapted for our chaotic, media-saturated world. He has no true personality, no fixed identity. Instead, he reinvents himself each day, treating life itself as an endless performance art piece written in violence and chaos. Think about how terrifying that is. Most people struggle to maintain a single coherent identity. The Joker creates new ones at will, each as authentic as the last, because none of them are truly real. When Batman fights the Joker, he's not fighting a person, he's fighting pure adaptable chaos. This leads us to his relationship with reality itself. Most psychiatric professionals in the DC universe agree that the Joker is not actually psychotic, in the clinical sense. He doesn't have delusions or hallucinations. He sees reality exactly as it is. He just refuses to play by its rules. As one Arkham doctor put it, he's not mad, he's just different. His mind works differently than ours. Consider his approach to trauma. In The Killing Joke, he doesn't just inflict trauma on Commissioner Gordon. He photographs it, turns it into a carnival ride, makes it deliberately theatrical. He's not just causing pain, he's making a point about pain itself. He sees suffering as comedy, not because he doesn't understand suffering, but because he sees existence itself as one big cruel joke. His relationship with Batman adds another fascinating layer to his psychology. Most villains want to kill Batman. The Joker? He needs Batman alive. In Death of the Family, we learn that the Joker actually knows Batman's secret identity but chooses not to use this information. Why? Because revealing it would end their dance. The Joker sees their conflict as the only thing giving meaning to a meaningless universe. This brings us to perhaps the most chilling aspect of the Joker's psychology. His nihilism isn't passive, it's aggressive. Most nihilists simply believe life has no meaning. The Joker wants to prove it has no meaning, and he'll go to any lengths to make his point. When he poisons Gotham's water supply or releases Joker venom into a crowded mall, he's not just killing people, he's staging elaborate demonstrations of his philosophy. Consider how he treats his own pain and mortality. In Death of the Family, he has his own face cut off and wears it as a mask, turning his own suffering into performance art. In Endgame, he essentially makes himself immortal, not because he fears death, but because he sees it as another punchline in his cosmic joke. His intelligence makes all of this even more terrifying. The Joker isn't operating on pure instinct. Every action is calculated for maximum impact. He understands human psychology well enough to manipulate anyone, from street thugs to superheroes. He can plan elaborate schemes that require precise timing and execution. Yet he can also abandon these plans on a whim if he thinks it would be funnier to do so. This combination of genius-level intelligence, philosophical nihilism, and super-sanity makes the Joker unique among villains. He's not trying to rule the world or get revenge. He's trying to prove that all our attempts to create meaning and order are jokes, and he's willing to turn his own life into performance art to make that point. What makes the Joker truly remarkable is his ability to evolve with society's deepest fears. Like a dark mirror held up to each generation, he transforms to reflect whatever terrifies us most at any given moment. When he first appeared in the 1940s, America was gripped by the fear of organized crime. Gangsters weren't just criminals, they were sophisticated operators who could corrupt entire cities. The Joker of this era was exactly that, a calculating criminal mastermind who orchestrated elaborate schemes and ran his criminal empire like a CEO. He wasn't just dangerous because he could kill, he was dangerous because he could think. Then came the 1950s, an era of unprecedented American optimism. The war was over, the economy was booming, and the suburbs were expanding. In this period, the Joker transformed into something less lethal but no less meaningful, a theatrical trickster whose elaborate pranks and schemes reflected a society that could finally afford to laugh at itself. Yes, this version was tamer, but it spoke to an America that wanted its villains to be entertaining rather than terrifying. The 1970s brought a dramatic shift. Cities were decaying, crime was soaring, and the optimism of the post-war era had given way to urban paranoia. The Joker responded by becoming a homicidal maniac, unpredictable and brutal. This wasn't the calculating gangster of the 40 seconds or the playful prankster of the 50 seconds. This was a killer who reflected America's growing fear that the world had gone mad. By the 2000s, in a post-9 world, our fears had evolved again. Now we were afraid of chaos itself, of those who wanted to, as Alfred put it in The Dark Knight, watch the world burn. The Joker became a terrorist, but not one with political demands or religious extremism. He was something even scarier, a force of pure chaos who couldn't be reasoned with or understood. Today, in the 2020s, as we grapple with growing social divides and institutional distrust, the Joker has evolved once again. In interpretations like Joaquin Phoenix's Arthur Fleck, he's become a symbol of societal breakdown, a man created by a system that abandoned him, reflecting our fears about inequality and institutional failure. He's no longer just an agent of chaos, he's the product of a society that many fear is itself becoming a joke. This constant evolution isn't just clever marketing or changing artistic tastes. It's the key to the character's longevity. The Joker endures because he's always exactly the monster we need him to be, the perfect vessel for whatever keeps us awake at night. He's not just a villain, he's a living reflection of our collective nightmares, changing his face just as society changes its fears. The Joker endures because he represents something fundamentally true about human nature, our fear of chaos and meaninglessness. He shows us that the systems we build to create order are more fragile than we'd like to believe. One bad day, one push in the wrong direction, and everything can fall apart. Which version of the Joker speaks most to our current moment? Is he still the perfect villain for our times? Share your thoughts below, and let me know what other villains you'd like to see analyzed next. Thanks for watching.